You ever been to the Library nightclub?
No, because it was opened after the mid-1990s when I was last in a nightclub. The Library, and its many previous iterations, has been in and out of the headlines for the best part of 4 decades. You would remember it as Hannibal's.
Thanks for that.
And when you were there in the very early 1980s, you would have been dancing to songs like this. It was the place to be in Perth. When businessman Graham Hardy bought it in 1983, Elle MacPherson was at the relaunch and 2,000 people lined up to get in.
I wasn't one of them, but Perth does love a new venue.
It wasn't even new. It was still Hannibal's. It just had a new owner. In 1991, it was rebranded as Havana, where you would have been dancing to this. In the late 90s, it became the Kremlin.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
Spent the first part of the new millennium as the Church.
You can find me in the club, bottle full of bub.
And is currently trading as the Library, where I'm told young people now dance to this.
Get a bucket and a mop, that's some wet ass pussy.
In 2017, a very young and very flashy chap, Yusuf, bought the Library for $4.6 million. It's caused him a fair bit of grief since then. Yusuf and his glamorous wife, Cynthia Liu, are apparently Perth's answer to the Kardashians.
What's wrong with you guys? My diamond earring came up in the ocean and it's gone. Kim, there's people that are dying.
Their social media is impressive.
They had very big plans for the Library, starting with a rebrand and then a bigger development. You've got a good piece of land in the city which is over 500 square metres. It obviously has the development opportunity, which we bought it for, so you can go up to 10 stories. It's a piece of land that we can develop and build apartments or a hotel, is what Yusuf said at the time he bought it.
How's that going?
Well, 5 years later, it's still a nightclub and it's still called the Library, so not great. Yusuf has been preoccupied with other matters. On the opening night, under new management, there was a special guest, but it wasn't Elle MacPherson. 30 police officers, the K9 unit and the TRG blocked off part of Lake Street, manned the front entry and rear exit of the venue and searched patrons waiting to enter. Something Yusuf suggested was evidence police were just doing their job to make sure the club's running perfect. 4 months after that, the Library was one of 4 night spots raided by the Organised Crime Squad. That operation was part of a wider investigation of a bust that netted $33 million of methamphetamine, cocaine and MDMA, as well as 3 guns and more than $800,000 in cash. Now, there's no suggestion Yusuf had anything to do with that matter, but his brothers sure did. Adil and Zamul Khan are both doing hefty stretches in jail for their part in what was a pretty sophisticated drug smuggling operation. 3 others were sent to jail also.
5 convictions, not bad for the cops.
Probably would have been 6. One of the people arrested back in 2017 literally dropped dead when the cops raided his house in Ascot. It's a true story. His name was Levi Congdon. He was 27 years old. The latest drama involves Yusuf's one-time business partner. Mujaba Abdulaziz was until 2020 a part owner of the Library. Abdulaziz is now being targeted by this guy. Corruption and Crime Commission boss John McKechnie is flexing his organisation's unexplained wealth powers. He's a bit like Chuck out of Billions.
I can do what I want, when I want, how I want.
The CCC has frozen US $590,000 that was in Abdul Aziz's bank account.
Where'd the money come from?
Well, that's kind of the point. It's unexplained. The CCC says he hasn't lodged a tax return since 2008. We know all this because there was a Supreme Court judgment just handed down after Abdul Aziz tried to get the freezing order struck out. He reckons, the cops reckon, he and his family are involved with drugs. They assert that the thrust of the inadmissible material was to the effect that WA police believe the first respondent's family are involved in drugs.
Is Yusuf involved in the freezing order?
Not at all, and there is no suggestion that he knows anything about it.
And he's got other problems.
Yusuf and Cynthia are in the headlines, not for their glam lives, but because their company, Modco Modular Construction, was targeted by a disgruntled ex-employee who graffitied a brick wall at a half-built home with the words, "Modco not paying bricklayer." Others reckon they owe more than $100,000 in unpaid build, which is denied by the company, but still likely testing the Khan's life philosophy, which Cynthia says is based on being a huge believer that as long as we are honest in our dealings, have good intentions and are accountable, we will always be okay.
Adam Simpson needs some of that mojo.
Have you ever seen Simo more miserable?
All right, let's go.
I.e., let's get this over and done with.
Well, not obviously nowhere near at the standard at the moment.
Come on, mate, chin up.
Some of the kids that are playing that getting a good look. That's good experience, but it's not ideal.
Incredibly, the weekend's 84-point thrashing wasn't the worst Simpson has shamefully endured. That title goes to last year's 97-point drubbing by Geelong. Yes, they've been completely rooted by COVID, but even Simo admits that excuse is becoming boring.
And a club great has called out some players.
Guy McKenna reckons the senior players just don't want to work. This one word keeps coming up, though.
Transitioning.
Yeah, we're transitioning as a side.
Nah, don't go there.
No dog whistling here. Simo better get everyone transitioning faster because the fans are going to start defecting and the Dockers are seizing the opportunity. The Dockers are winning.
Upside down.
Oh, Mr. Squiggle, it's upside down.
Scott Morrison's campaign's ended in disaster.
Not that ScoMo, this one. The Perth Wildcats coach has told fans he's really sorry they missed the finals for the first time in 35 years. They've been in every final series since you were at Hannibal's dancing to this. And the bloke who bought the team only a year ago says he's sorry too.
I bet he is.
Yeah, former journo turned sports media mogul Craig Hutchinson paid around $8 million. So yeah, he's pretty sorry, all right. Probably not as sorry as Tony Sage, though. He's the businessman who is busy turning his large fortune into a small one by virtue of his ownership of Perth Glory.
Sorry week for WA Sport.
Even Perth's most famous sporting smile is upside down. Daniel Ricciardo has apologised after doing this.
Daniel Ricciardo hits Carlos Sainz and Ferrari is spun round.
Something that made Ferrari driver Carlos Sainz grumpier than Blackboard out of Mr. Squiggle.
Oh, that's not fair.
While Max Verstappen and Red Bull party like they did in Northbridge 40 years ago.
The only way is up.
I'm Ben Harvey. For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.